Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. So what we're going to cover today is I've been guided to talk to you a bit more about the March energy update and what's actually occurring, which some of you are probably very familiar with, but also what's going to be coming up next week with this equinox. So we're just going to kind of cover what's been happening in March, what's to come here in March. And remember, a lot of what I talk about is energies. And we all take them in as needed, per the conversation that Jennifer and I recently had, which is we get what we need individually from the cosmic events, solar flares, all of that. We're going to talk more about that today. But keep in mind that what is occurring for us with respect to solar activity is taken in by each of us as we need it, as well as the Earth. So what I've told somebody the other day is, from everything I've been told, it's not like we're going to have this big solar event and everybody's going to run out into the streets and look at each other and go, oh my gosh, everything's different. Again, this is a process we're going through. So it's all individual. It's unique to you, but it is being offered to us for this great ascension journey that we're on. So keep that in mind. Again, take what resonates, toss the rest aside, as I always say. But we're going to talk about that today. And then I'm going to also move into a conversation about our opportunity as humans to be able to make decisions and choices from our individual consciousness, basically free will. And we're going to talk a little bit about the difference with that with humans that I have been given information on, and as well as something you might not have considered with this respect to making choices and decisions with this free will gift that we have. So that's where we're at today and what I'm going to cover. And like I always say, hopefully you'll take at least one thing away where you can consider that a puzzle piece to the puzzle of your own soul journey and this great understanding that we're unfolding of this whole process for us. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Carolyn. I'm a channel, I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. And I offer these videos for you to assist you in your awakening, ascension, and your life journey. So thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you who are new or haven't had the opportunity to take a look at my email list, I would highly recommend it. Essentially, what I do is I offer channeled supportive messages for the week coming up on every Friday. That's what I use my email list for. Down below in the description box of this video, you're going to find a link that can take you directly to my email list where you can receive every Friday a supportive message from the Light Keepers for your way forward. So a lot of people really enjoy it. I hope you do too. And you can sign up below. First, what you're going to get is a video on how to create flow in your body for health and wellness. So just know that you will receive that too. So again, thank you so much for joining me. You can find me on purplerainhealing.com with all of my services as well. Okay, so I'm just going to move into talking about, I want to move back to what they brought in for me for the March energy update, because things are unfolding. They're actually bringing me more, I'll just say kind of like results of what they've channeled through me when they do occur. And they kind of very synchronistically, magically show up for me. And I don't seek them out because I don't really watch the news much, which I probably should do more, or at least weather or something, but I don't. Needless to say, what was coming through in the March energy update that I put out before the 1st of March was the water theme. There was a huge water theme. And they also were bringing in the United States in some manner, okay? Now, it's always not always connected what I bring into this big story that you're going to totally understand. We kind of have to put pieces together. So water was a huge theme for March, all right? And obviously we haven't done the April energy update, so who knows where that's going. But anyway, water was a huge theme. The United States was brought forward in that. It was getting a lot of earth, kind of natural events happening, but I also was getting the sun. And as you may recall, for those of you who may have listened to it, is I kept seeing this bright March, like light in March, like light like crazy. And that what they were calling March is it's upliftment energy. Well, guess what? We've had a series of events where water is a huge theme on the west coast of the United States. Those of you who live there know, whether it be with snow that has been record-setting and the rains that are being received out west. Now, I'm just focused on that right now. I don't really know what's going on in the rest of the country, but I do know, and they're very much showing me this. It's like, they just said the word inundated. Not like I have to tell you that, because if you're out there, you're experiencing it. This is what we're talking about with the water, because snow's water, right? Ultimately. But anyway, point is, and the rains that are being received and the winds and all these natural events. So this is happening. I have a lot of chills, by the way. This is happening. Additionally, we just had, and I found this out just like, I don't know, I think it popped up on my phone, which was interesting, right? We just had a massive solar flare, I believe it was yesterday. Huge. Like, I think it was one of the biggest ones in this, I just say, okay, the solar cycle, so whatever that means. It's massive, but what they're showing me is it's kind of cool, because remember, we saw this big light event like all of March, but we have the equinox coming toward the end of the month, and it was actually started, what they showed me was like mid-end of February, this year's big solar time for us. There was an event that happened, a solar actual event that we can look back to, that came in on my channeling for February, and then this one was showing up as well in March as enlightenment, upliftment. That was it. Upliftment energy for us. Upliftment energy. That's what it's showing so bright. Guess what? It's here and it's incoming. So it's the equinox energy for us is what I'm receiving. I'm receiving that as we have experienced or are experiencing this solar event that actually you're going to feel it over the course of at least the next week is what I'm getting. Remember, you're going to receive what you need, but just kind of like prep time, right? Like, remember, this is happening and we get affected. So if you're feeling off, or I don't know, let's just say you decided to use this weekend to party hard over St. Patrick's weekend, it might not serve you. You may notice something different. I'm just going to say, the things we used to do in our former awakened journey, when we are open up more to the energies, things start to not serve us. That's a whole other conversation. But what I'm going to tell you right now is the new foundation, or the cleaned up foundation, the patched up foundation, the strong foundation you've created now in your journey, the shifts and change in your habits and all the things you do for your physical body, your energy body, your emotional and mental body, matter during these solar events and how you receive them, okay, and what kind of effects you have. Now, I know a lot of people right now, okay, I think they're going to bring something through on this, are having, and it's real interesting, a lot of people with throat and head is what I'm getting. And check this out. So I wake up this morning with a really thick throat, kind of like how you feel when you're going to get a cold. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I literally have not even had a cold, nothing to do with illness since the fall of 2019. Seriously. And I was like, oh, what's this? So I know I'm clearing. We're always doing that. But at the same time, there's something going on for us. Some of you may be able to relate to this. It's kind of chest on up. But what I'm receiving is it's always more than one thing is what I will tell you, because lots of times we're dealing with past lives too. But the point is a lot of us are dealing with this here. So when I'm getting, okay, they just said incoming energy. Oh, it's okay. You're probably going to start feeling it this weekend. Yep, that's what they're saying. Now, remember, we don't all consciously feel it. We just don't. I mean, like I told you with me, full moon events, new moon events, typically I'm kind of like cruising through those now where I never used to. But that doesn't mean that these are huge and these are new energies coming in. This is all for the upliftment. This is all for our journey to the higher dimensional states. Okay, so this is helping Earth. This is helping us individually. And we are going to have this opportunity for them over the next week. So my point in bringing this up is I want you to, first of all, be aware we've had a massive solar event. It takes, I'll just say time, but it does travel to us. and it unfolds. It's like waves is what they're showing. Okay, they just said solar waves. So like when this is interesting. They just said when a blast is sent out. See, that shows consciousness behind it being sent. When a blast is sent out, it rolls in. So they're showing like waves. They're also showing, this is real interesting. You know how we talked about, I think it was Jennifer and myself, that these show up as they're meant to for each of us? What they're showing is this massive amount of light coming out of the sun, or energy coming out of the sun. And then what it does is, you know how waves come to the shore out of the ocean? They come to the shore, they're huge and big, and then they come to the shore and they eventually calm down and trickle in, right? That's what they're showing here. That's what they're showing. They just said it depends on where you're at, where you're standing. Think of the metaphor of the ocean. Or you're standing on the shore. Are you solid in your foundation and your shoreline? Oh, this is cool. Okay, remember, metaphor. Solid in your foundation and shoreline, and you're able to let the water trickle in your feet and be able for it to then exude into you. Or are you standing out midway out in the crash of the surf and letting it overtake you? And that again saying what foundation you've created, where you're standing on the shoreline, all right? Shoreline meaning your foundation. What foundation are you, are you way in the deep and you haven't you just haven't changed things or you're not doing things to, I will say, accommodate the energies. And another part of this is even just recognizing it's happening and being able to be attuned to yourself with the three bodies that we've talked about. And for many years, I've been talking about self-care, and there's reasons behind all this information coming through is for us to then take something from it, learn from it, create our foundation so that we can, they just said tolerate more easily these massive solar events. Because remember, this is cellular structure that's being changed, okay? This is upliftment energy. It's also affecting our energy body, most importantly, obviously, but it's affecting our three bodies and our connection, okay, to what I always call the ethers. They always say the ethers, and to the earth. So all of this information that has been brought through over the years is very purposeful about self-care. Point being is, where are you standing on the shore? Use a metaphor to figure that out for yourself, okay? Because metaphors are great. If you can't answer your own question about something, think of a metaphor. And then, like they always, the metaphor, and this is I think the one they're giving us today is fantastic for solar flares. Like where are you standing on your shoreline, okay? Are you ready for these things? And being ready means being aware, doing your self-care, being gentle with yourself, not rushing around like you used to in the old days, because it's just not going to be able to happen. Where are you? Are you attuning to yourself? How are you handling your emotions? How are you handling things that are showing up? The whole journey back to self. So anyway, I probably made my point on that. I think the metaphor of being on the shore is like a really good one for this. So what we're going to have over the next week is, again, they keep saying the word opportunity to me. Opportunity for this upliftment energy to roll through. They keep showing it rolling through, and where are you standing on the shore? So I just wanted you to be aware. We've had a massive solar flare per the energy update that said, yeah, this is going to happen. We have the water events going on. We have a bright, uplifting March, even though I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that or look like that. But remember, it's our individual journey. And many of you know how this can feel incredibly powerful and so uplifting as we center on bringing energy into ourselves and focusing on our own journey. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you today. That's your equinox. Whether we will have additional solar flares, well, I guess let's just see. I was just thinking if there's anything else coming in next, I guess we'll just ask next week. Okay, they just said tidal wave. Oh, in the sense of the type of energy that's coming. Okay, they just said most of you will sense a shift. Oh, interesting, in your physical being. Well, so it could be something, I guess I'll say as simple as like what's happening with me, right? Like I am feeling like something, that I'm ill, that I have a cold or something going on. That's so not me. But remember, this can show up in many different ways. And what I will say is lean in to taking care of yourself. I'm not going to go through all the self-care stuff. You guys know about that because I got plenty of videos on that. Usually always bringing that up. Okay, so what I want to talk about too, that is connected with this, and since everything is connected with respect to our energetic journey, with respect to ascension, and the question really is how are you going to use this energy? How are you going to use this upliftment energy in March to move you forward? Well, you may be like, well, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean use this energy? Well, it's again about self-reflection. It's again about knowing that this energy of upliftment is being offered to you, but we also come along for the journey and we do our work, like literal 3D work, right? So one of the things I want to talk about today is the choices we have as humans. We are, in many ways, I have been told, unique to the cosmos, in the sense, and this is mostly true, I will say, in the sense that we are one of the few beings, we might be the only, but one of the, okay, we're not going to argue that point, but that have this opportunity for what I call individual consciousness, this little battery of us, human Carolyn running around having your own consciousness, right? And you having your own consciousness. It's not a collective mind, a hive mind kind of thing, right? Although we are growing in our collective consciousness, which is super important. But the point is we're here as an individual consciousness being able to experience whatever we want. I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but yes, we can. We have the opportunity. We can make choices every day. We do it all the time. We take action. We make choices. We do the thing. And, a lot of us do, I'm not in control of my journey. We all have those times where, things are just happening to us. Well, you know what? Honestly, that maybe feel like the case, but our soul did sign up for a lot of things, right? And then we've made choices too down the road of what we want to do, what we want to see in our journey, and then we pursue that, right? So something simple as, let's see, for dinner, I don't know, maybe I'm going to have pizza or I'm going to do spaghetti. I'm going to have pizza. That's a free will choice. You get to choose what you want. And most of the things we think about with respect to free will have to do with material things that we're going to see, we're going to feel, we're going to experience, right? That's what we think of free will. We have free will. We get to choose. We get to make choices. However, think about this. Your free will also has to do with your thoughts. What are you thinking? It might not be that you're doing what your thought is, but do you have a thought process or pattern or theme running through your mind very often that you may not even be fully aware of is affecting what is brought to you, okay? So just like your actions, just like your behaviors, when we do a thing, we put energy toward it and that thing happens, right? Same with your thoughts. Again, this is the thoughts are things thing, but it's tied to free will. So what I want you to know is you're utilizing your free will when you have thoughts. Because guess what? The universe, spirit, however you want to look at it, doesn't see it as, that's not a good show. We're not going to give you the energy there. No, it looks for repetitive energy. Like I always talk about for people, when you create momentum, that's what is partnered with. So as you're creating momentum in your journey, whatever it has to do with, you're going to be paired with, or that energy is going to get matched, and you're going to get literally uplifted. They're showing, this is so funny. So they're showing like a magnetic, like a big magnet coming down and like attaching to the top of a truck and taking it. This is really funny. So what they're expressing though is that as you create that pattern of the thought form, and I'm going to give you some examples here that you may not even realize, or that may be so deep that you do all the time. Well, the universe is going to say to you, okay, well, we see that momentum. We see that you must really want this because it's always there. It shines brightly to us. Oh, we'll give you more. Or we'll just keep giving you this. And yet, day to day, your actions and behaviors, the other part of free will, the real material part, you might not be doing that. You may really be doing things that suit you. However, there may be other things going on in your thought forms that are causing this. So, again, it's kind of you could use the half glass full, half glass empty mentality as kind of your foundational understanding of this. But I'm going to give you an example. One of which is self-talk. We don't realize we do that because we don't often realize we do it, particularly if it's really an ingrained pattern. Now, I'm going to give an example that's going to kind of seem minor, but it's kind of where I'm at in this journey of thoughts or things, and how am I using my free will, right? How am I going to use my free will? But now we have to really consider our thoughts too, not just the actions and behaviors that we see in the 3D world that we do to someone, or we, go buy something or whatever, and we use our free will. How do my thoughts affect what I'm receiving? Okay, so this really formed up for me the other day on the tennis court. Many of you know I play tennis regularly and I'm pretty competitive with it in the sense of kind of the people that I play with. So we usually are playing games or points, and somebody wins or loses. So anyway, over the years, tennis has been one of the biggest teaching tools for me, mainly in my adult life, since I picked it back up again probably 12 years ago. Needless to say, I do not have a typically negative mindset with myself. I've worked on a lot of things where I would have self-talk of like, oh, that was a stupid action. Like I'd drop a glass and break it or whatever, and then I'd get mad at myself and be like, you idiot. I would say things like that to myself, particularly in my thoughts. Oh, you idiot, but break a glass and I'm going to say it out loud. Or other things too, right? I would shame not so much shame myself, I would beat myself up. I was really good at that. And I always said, well, who's going to help me advance if it's not myself by, whipping the horse some more? I mean, seriously, right? That has shifted dramatically. I hardly ever do that anymore or react to those kinds of things like the glass breaking. It's like, okay, it broke, we're going to clean it up. But tennis, it's my Achilles heel. Where is your Achilles heel? Okay, where's your Achilles heel in your thought forms? Think about that. Take that away and think about this, because you might not even be aware of it. So my Achilles heel is in tennis. It shows up often, but I've noticed lately things have improved. What happens to me is I'm actually playing a tennis match, particularly in the past, and I noticed this happened the other day. I will beat myself up if I make a mistake, particularly like an unforced error or whatever, right? Not like a winner from my partner. I will do this thing, and I used to do it a lot, I would get angry with myself. I would get angry with myself. I would beat myself up. Unlike anything I do to myself, only on the tennis court, okay? Only on the tennis court. Well, guess what happened? I would continually say to myself as I would lose a point, even if I was winning the match, lose the point. Oh my God, why can't you get that? I'd get so upset. And it was more internal, but it was a thought of, you're just going to lose. You're just going to lose. Look, like you can't hit. What's wrong with you? I'd do this thing in my head where, oh my God, I made that one mistake. And then I'd say like, oh my God, I'm going to make that mistake again. And, blah, blah. And then there's this awful energy, right? And it would be tight and I wasn't having fun. It was a hot mess there a few years ago of, yeah, I was playing at a high level, but at the same time, I was miserable when I would play. I finally realized this doesn't serve me. And it also, guess what? Makes my tennis game worse. So here we are, thoughts are things. I put energy into berating myself, telling myself I can't play. In my head, thoughts, right? I wasn't displaying this. In my head, in my thoughts, saying I'm going to lose that point, or I'm going to serve now and I'm going to double fault kind of thought, like fear energy. Again, fear energy, right? I do that whole thing. And guess what? I got served up on a platter exactly what I was thinking. A lot. So what happened with me this last week is this really came home, which is why I'm doing the video, is I started to realize how much I have shifted and changed in my tennis court behavior, thoughts, as I'm playing. Now you may think, oh, this is just like, this is tennis. Well, but it's not. This is how we learn. These are the things, my Achilles heel and how I treat myself and the thoughts I put out there are brought through my tennis game. Okay. So what's happened since I've shifted and changed, I realized I don't do that anymore. Like, I don't have a lot of emotion. I still have some of it, but I don't beat myself up anymore. And I realized the other day as I was playing a fairly competitive match, I end up hitting a few points where I went back to my old self and I could tell I was just in a tizzy and I thought, oh, here we go. But I was aware. Okay. I was aware. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Can't do that. All right. Just focus on your stroke. Focus on your stroke. Focus on the technique. Focus on the technique. And bring my thought forms back into something I'm focusing on that is of positive energies. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. Okay, that was one point. Put that aside. Move on. I would carry the points with me. I would create a losing situation in my tennis game. Or if not that, which it typically was, and it was a pattern. It was a pattern. And it was a pattern of my thought forms turning into material things, which was the match that I played. And then, even worse, I would walk away feeling so yucky about the energy I had brought in for myself during that hour and a half of playtime. No, it's tennis. I should be able to go out there and just have fun and enjoy myself. All right? But I'm a very competitive person. But at the same time, this is one of my biggest learning opportunities. It's been brought back to me in my adult life to play tennis again, to learn this part. Thoughts are things, and again, in my little simple example, tennis is one of the best learning tools for me in so many ways. Lots of times sports are, right? How we treat ourselves, how we behave. You're going to find yours, but what is your Achilles heel? What is your Achilles heel with respect to your thought forms? Like, I kind of thought I had this licked, but I've always said the last bastion for, I'll just say, my ego is the tennis court. And when I say ego, it's the beat Carolyn up. But then again, that goes to, what are you doing with your free will? You're creating an energy, right? Through that consistency, that momentum of beating yourself up. And then guess what? I get served on a platter exactly what I'm saying to myself, which is not either playing well the entirety of the time or losing. Now you can argue losing doesn't who cares? Agreed. But my point is, this is my learning platform. This is my learning platform. So what I would say to you is, I think you'll be surprised. Think about your thoughts. And in particular, where it has to do with what you say to yourself. Now you can also use this in other ways, but I'm just focused right now on what this does for you in your journey. Okay, what does this do for you in your journey? I firmly believe, I've been very dedicated to this individual journey over the years that I've been on it since 2016. And so I'm very self-aware, and I also very much look at the thing, and I want to find the things, right? Well, I realize with tennis is that lots of times I'll come home and I'll not feel good about that hour and a half, or I'll just be in a bad mood, which is not me. So when you start digging into those things, start looking at what kind of sits aside from how you are typically day to day. What is it that is the Achilles heel, the reverberation, the big bright light saying, look at me, we need to address this. So I think I've kind of made my point, but what I would say to you is really remember that the universe, spirit, supports the energy that you create as momentum, or the primary energy over time. Remember that. This also goes to, and not to turn this into another topic, but this also goes to, as you're creating something, which you can argue, yeah, you're creating something in my tennis example, right? Not what I wanted, but as you're creating and working on something and you want to manifest, it's about continued momentum. It's not fits and starts. Boom, 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 energy here. The universe doesn't see it then, right? It's just fits and starts, momentum. So again, this is all tying together. Free will, thoughts are things, okay? And how you can find your Achilles heel and start working on it. Catching yourself in your conversation to yourself. looking at what the outcomes have been when you do this continuously, I'm going to bet you're going to find something. So that's the video for today. I wish you well next week over the equinox. Oh my gosh, where is March going? We are having freezing cold weather here still. I don't know about that, but I'd love to see a little bit of spring, but I know it's on the horizon. And just know this upliftment energy is here for you to use. It's here for you to use, but lean into taking care of yourself. Lean into it. Take the time you need. And remember, recognize the sun. Remember what we've talked about. Recognize the sun. Make a conscious connection. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Check out purplerainhealing.com if you would like to work with me through spiritual awakening, mentoring, distance energy healing, or channeled messages. I would love to work with you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.